Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Cold weather, be here soon enough. And if you're having to do some home improvements this winter, start an end-of-the-year do-it-yourself project, visit A.G. Hines Company. You see the phone number right there. You can also visit them at aghinescompany.com. They've got not only the best building materials and tools, but they also have cold weather building materials. And that can save you big bucks in the long run. Building something in November, December, January is not the same as building something in June or July or August. You need to get in touch with these guys. A.G. Hines Company, they can help you. They've been helping East Tennesseans for a century, literally. A.G. Hines Company. All right, this is our Hot Read segment. It's going to be quick and easy today. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this show diving deep into the offensive performance last night or the defensive performance last night, so we're going to do it in one segment. First of all, guys, your views, whichever way you want to take it. Play calling, guys who look good, guys who look bad. The offense last night at Auburn. Chuck, I start with you.
Well, okay, start with me. On the offense, I'm tired of hearing Jarrett Guarantano gives you the best chance to win football games. Because I'm here to tell you he gives you the best chance to lose because of crucial decisions. And if his senior is going to make freshman mistakes, why not play a freshman? And on that decisive interception, the receiver's knocked off the route. Guarantano stares down the receiver. Defensive back is sitting there. That Auburn set a trap and Tennessee just fell right into it. So offensively, if you win just about every statistical category in a game and still lose, it's time to give somebody else a chance.
Brandon Kennedy also didn't win any awards last night for that play either, as he got turnstiled and gave up pressure right in Guarantano's ear hole. Not to defend Guarantano, you can't make that decision and try and fire that ball in there like that. But I thought that was a good example of you have a nice drive and then everything, three different players on one play screw it up. And it turns into six the other way. Gentlemen, your thoughts on the offense?
One, Eric Gray, let's start with him.
Yes.
He was brilliant. He had 222 yards from scrimmage. I think he ran for 173 and a touchdown. He also had 3 catches, I think, for 49. I thought Guarantano, and I'm sure I'll get a lot of emails about this, I thought he played really well until the pick six. I thought in the first half he did the right things. I thought he checked into the right running plays. He converted, 4 out of 7 third down passes. I thought he did a lot of really good things until the disaster hit in the third quarter. And then I thought the offensive line played like I thought it would play this year. I thought they had a really good game. They opened some gaping holes for Eric Gray and for Ty Chandler.
Eric Gray, you go back and look at his numbers the first 3 games versus the last 4 games. Jim Chaney was using him, he was splitting it. It was about 50-50 with Ty Chandler. Now it's gone about 75-25, and the production has gone through the roof. I thought going into this year, Eric Gray would be the replacement for Juwan Jennings, meaning this is who your offense goes through. Mm-hmm. I think they need to continue to up that number. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. He's your offense. And he showed it last night. Thought it was interesting. That was the 41st best run attempt or best run game in UT history last night. And yes, I looked all this up. In the previous 40 games, when Tennessee had a guy run for 173 or more yards, they were 33-7. That was the first time since the Vanderbilt game in 2005, which kind of signaled the downturn of the program. First time since 2005, 15 years since Tennessee has had a running back go for 173 and they lost the game. Which
they're in Foster.
Talks, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, your thoughts on the offense, Josh?
Yeah, I would echo what you said, John. Even on a night where Tennessee's able to get the running game going and run consistently and effectively right at Auburn, even when you're able to get third down conversions, which Tennessee has really struggled with all season long, you still find a way to get in your own way. And after the game, when Jeremy Pruitt's pointing at the offense and getting more yards than Auburn, well, that's actually part of the problem at the end of the story, that you're still able to get down 17 and lose by 13 in the game. And how many times have we said the Arkansas game, plenty of games, why don't you just keep doing what works against Tennessee's defense? I promise Auburn fans were thankful that Tennessee decided, hey, we've been running right at Auburn and they can't stop us, so Tennessee stopped itself.
It was bizarre. The offensive line, you look at them and you want to say, boy, they had a great night. You look at what Eric Gray did. They didn't have a great first half. They ran for less than 4 yards a carry. That third quarter and that one drive, spectacular. Did pretty well in the fourth quarter as well, but the pass blocking wasn't great last night. There's not any part of this team where you go, this unit is exactly what we want out of them. There's no consistency. It's remarkable. And what did you think about Chaney's play calling last night? I thought he mixed it up early. But I think, and you mentioned going to the pass down there, and that might have been a check. But the issue, I think, and Will Overstreet's hit on this a little bit, I wonder if Chaney scripts that first half, and then what other changes can you make? You are so limited, I don't know what other adjustments you can make. It's like, well, we fired all the bullets in the gun, let's just keep doing what we do.
Well, I mean, I don't think they would script the whole half, but they did mix in some more swing passes, right, in the first half. We'd been asking
Yeah, they
about
don't
that.
script the half, they script the
to
first
give
drive.
Garantano something a little bit easier, something easier to read. It was more than just the vanilla approach I think we'd been critical of. So, I mean, but that's the way I think you have to be able to play. And guys, I keep going back to where if I hear you don't trust your quarterback, you're not going to win in this league. You're just not. You're not going to be able to go deep enough into the playbook. And again, I go back to where Auburn defensive backs said this. We know he stares down receivers. We know where he's going to go with the ball. So, just looking at it, John, that's more the way I think you need to play offensively. But I still think you got to make some key changes.
All right, I'm going to flip it to defense, but let me first give you a visual aid. I put this on Twitter last night and said, this is what you don't want to see from your secondary.
Touchdown.
This is the one site you never want to see from your secondary, especially when your head coach and your defensive coordinator are secondary, quote-unquote, gurus. That's not a great look. Bad bust last night. Defense was also very much aided by Tank Bigsby getting hurt. The number of running backs Tennessee has knocked out of games over the last 10 years, it hasn't helped on the win column, but man, they take out a lot of really good running backs. But that still hurt Auburn's offense because for the last month he has been their offense. Your thoughts on the defense's play overall?
John, you could put that screenshot back up. We could go silent for the rest of the segment, and that'll speak for itself because you have two safeties right there brought in by Jeremy Pruitt and coached by him and Derek Ansley in that play. And Schwartz is a guy that Jeremy Pruitt talked about this week. He didn't need the speed on that play. He could have walked to the ball, and they still would have scored a touchdown probably on that play. But even when they're able to make plays, Tennessee is a defense, and Tennessee's a team that's going to end up beating itself. And in the middle of the field, it continued to be there. Auburn could get itself in a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 situation that's difficult for Bo Nix. No problem. Seth Williams in the middle of the field, find him, first down Auburn.
Thoughts on the defense?
They make too many mistakes. It's communication issues, and they will have moments where they play pretty good, and then they'll have a major bust like that to give up a huge play. They were inconsistent, I thought, with their pass rush. Kevon Bennett, I think, had 2 sacks, so he did a nice job in that regard, but they just don't play at a consistently high level and make enough plays during the course of a game. So I can't credit the defense with having a really good performance against Auburn. I just think they make too many mental errors, and that showed up against Auburn.
And you wonder if maybe, even it's year 3 now, if they have too much to think about, too much they're trying to process, and then in that split second, I mean, that receiver for Auburn is supposed to be the fastest college football player in the country. You would think somebody would be thinking, we don't want to let this guy just run right past us. And then both teams were 9 of, what was it? I had it down here, 9 of 15 on 3rd down. And Auburn seemed to be particularly effective in the second half. So if your head coach is defensive minded, don't you think you got to get a little bit more out of your defense?
You would think you would have some playmakers on that defense at this point. Bryce Thompson got an interception last night in the end zone. It was his first interception since week 2, I guess. You had Henry To'oTo'o. I had people tweeting me last night saying, is he hurt? He's not out there. He was out there.
No, 11's there.
He's gone silent the last few weeks. Defensively, you expect to see, again, it goes back to, he's building the roster. At some point, there should be guys out there that catch your eye, that make plays. I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Well, I'm not either, and that's pretty alarming. And the other thing is, and I think we've touched on this before, but it seems like when you look at Tennessee's player development, most of the players that got better were Butch Jones guys. A lot of the guys that Jeremy Pruitt's recruited, they don't seem to be making the same strides, and they have to. If you want to win in this league, these guys have got to get better, but I haven't seen enough of that.
The irony is last year, about the midway point, when they were on their record at its lowest, the big push was bench the losers, bench the Butch guys, and put in the young guys. Well, apparently it was the Butch guys who were dragging you across the finish line last year. All right, when we come back, we're going to do our Why They Were Stupid, the worst decisions from last night's game, including one decision that left a VFL, and I'll tell you who, and I'll tell you what he said, a VFL pretty ticked. about the head coach. We'll discuss that next on the Sports Source.